Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 9 of the Simply Well podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, or TV shows, or this week comics, we've got the show for you. And like I said, this week we're gearing up for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness by reading some Doctor Strange comics, similar to how we did a few weeks back for Moon Knight premieres. So it's going to be a little bit interesting because I think we both got somewhat short comic runs compared to like our Moon Knight runs, which is good because some of our news is pretty dense. Like we've got to talk about the Fantastic Four MCU film losing its director, Fast X also losing its director, which is the Fast and Furious 10, and then Cinemacon's just all the things from Cinemacon will probably be a big chunk of our news segment. So if you're ready, we'll just get down into it.
Oh, I want to get down and dirty.
Let's just get stinky.
I want to gangbang you all by myself.
Been on an Oscar Isaac kick, huh?
I have been, dude. I'll never be able to get enough of him.
Those TikToks kill me, and I love that they're able to separate it away from Marissa Tomei. So if you have no clue that it's what it is it's a Zoom play. Yeah. But so just out of context, it's just Oscar Isaac being a horny, dominating daddy who's just like, I want to gangbang you all by myself. Yeah.
I'm going to rip your tits off with my
teeth. He's like,
I'm going to gangbang you all by myself.
What's he say though? He's like, get on your knees.
That's
an order. It's like, whoa. Moon Knight is horny.
Yeah, this man's hurting for it. He's fiending.
He's fiending for it. Now, anyways, so into the news here. We're going to start at the top. John Watts, who directed the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, has actually decided to withdraw from the director's chair on the Fantastic Four film for MCU. He made a statement to the Hollywood Reporter saying that making 3 Spider-Man films was an incredible and life-changing experience for me. I'm eternally grateful to have been a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for 7 years. I'm hopeful we'll work together again soon, and I can't wait to see the amazing vision for Fantastic Four brought to life. And then Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, released a statement with the co-president, Louis D'Esposito, and they said that collaborating with John on the Spider-Man films has been a true pleasure. We were looking forward to continuing our work with him to bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU, but we understand and are supportive of his reasons for stepping away. We are optimistic that we will have the opportunity to work together again at some point down the road.
Sounds like a genuine, something's going on, or maybe he's like, all right, I just want to take a step back for a little bit, and they're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and he said some stuff on, Twitter, and other people, quote-unquote, sources close to the situation, right? Make it sound like it really is just a case of burnout, where you figure he made 3 Spider-Man films in the course of 7 years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So yeah, that's pretty quick turnaround, especially when you consider that there was the COVID delays, and it was No Way Home was filmed primarily during COVID. So it's a lot, and it might just be that he really just needs a break.
Yeah,
because like you said, it does sound like both parties there's no hard feelings. It wasn't parting the a lot of times they'll use the phrase creative differences. There was none of that here. It was just he decided to step away. And, which is good that he did it early, and was like, I just don't think I can give this my everything because I'm tired,
Right. Especially, if you don't want to give, if you're burnt out to the point where you can't give it your all, then I feel like it is a respectable thing to be like, I need to take a break. And they're probably like, if it's not going to be the best you can make, then we don't want it. Not being rude, but being in the sense of, take your time off, recharge.
There's a lot of money at stake, and it is a creative endeavor. And for a lot of the people involved, it is a passion project, because you figure Kevin Feige himself is a humongous comic book nerd. That's how he got into the business. And so, a lot of the people involved, it's a project of love and passion. And then, again, like I said, there's a lot of money on the line. So if you can't do 100%, and then, for John Watts as a creator, you don't want to put out something that's not your best work that you could give, right? Because that's your portfolio. Right. But yeah, so I mean, it's sad because I think he could do a good job with it, but also, like I said, I'm glad that it wasn't like a falling out or anything.
As well as I'm excited in the sense, I'm not excited. I'm happy in this sense of he still is like, I'm excited to see what they release, which makes me think that he has enough trust in in their creative mindset to be like, I still feel like it's going to be good.
Yeah, which I mean, because the Fantastic Four has not had a very good screen presence at all, and
I don't
I
know,
really think
the original one with Chris Evans
as the
playing,
Human Torch,
dude, that one was heat. Like, like no pun intended. Like I'll come out and say it.
Have you watched it recently?
Oh God, no! I imagine it's probably trash. But like
Right,
me as a kid,
you
I'd be
remember
like,
it well. Yeah.
oh snap, dude.
Yeah. Oh shit, that's the Fantastic Four, yo.
Yeah. Fucking get me dancing.
No. And it is interesting to think about that. Kevin Feige worked as like basically a low-ranking like producer type assistant person on the original Fantastic Four films, and now here he is as like the president of Marvel Studios, putting together an entire Fantastic Four movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's all I got about that. I don't want to dwell because we do have a lot from Cinemacon.
Yeah, let's dive right into it.
So, real quick, after like a few days into production, Justin Lin announced that he is not going to be the director of Fast X. And there was no initial reason given with his statement.
Mm-hmm.
He posted directly from like the franchise's official Twitter account, and he said, "With the support of Universal, I've made the difficult decision to step back as director of Fast X while remaining with the project as a producer." And then it goes on to say that over 10 years and 5 films, we've been able to shoot the best actors, the best stunts, and the best damn car chases. On a personal note, as the child of Asian immigrants, I am proud of helping to build the most diverse franchise in movie history. I will forever be grateful to the amazing cast, crew, and studio for their support and for welcoming me into the Fast family. So he directed, I think, 3 through 6, and then was tagged to do this one and 11, which is supposed to be the last movie. So I do think it's interesting that he made some of the better ones. Because, we talked about that when we brought up the Fast franchise a few weeks ago. That,
Family.
Like Tokyo Drift is really good.
That's hate. That's hate.
That's number 3. And
no,
then
Tokyo Drift's 2.
No. Too Fast, Too Furious is 2, you doofus.
No. Hold on.
Hence the fucking titling.
Hold on.
The fucking title is 2, the number 2, Fast, the number 2, Furious. Trust me on this. I was alive when it came out. Tokyo Drift is the 3rd one. Are you pulling it up right now?
Oh, yeah, big time.
All right, then I want you to announce it loudly when you're wrong.
Fast.
I'll wait. I'm not even going to continue. We're waiting.
Movie order.
You got it.
Here it is.
All right. Read them off in order. Read them off to me.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
What you got there?
We're both fucking wrong.
No, we're not.
Okay, Fast and Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious. Fast and Furious Turbocharged. Fast and Furious
What the fuck is Fast and Furious Turbocharged? That's not a movie. That's either a video game or like an animated show.
It's a short. It's 6 minutes, but it was in the lineup.
Yeah. So then what was after that?
Before that was the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, like on God. Like on Jaw.
No, you're wrong. Tokyo Drift is the 3rd one. And you read it out just now and are now doubling back. And you forget that I can edit. So I can just fucking isolate the part where you read the order.
That's a matter of opinion.
Anyways. I'll kill you. I'll kill you dead.
Just make it look like an accident.
We're just episode 9. We never do another podcast because we had a fucking falling out over the order of the Fast franchise.
Hey, we got to get the double digits, and then we can have a huge Beatles breakup.
Yeah, my wife will be Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So yeah, as of right now, I'm gonna butcher his name, Louis Leterrier, who created the Now You See Me franchise and several of the Transporter action movies, is Universal's pick to replace Justin Lin. And the Hollywood Reporter is reporting that the final details still need to be worked out a bit, but the production could be back on track in a matter of days if all goes smoothly. So that's actually a pretty quick turnaround there of being like, all right, so I wonder if there was like writing on the wall that it wasn't going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they were like pretty quickly within like a week had a guy picked But some of the, like, I don't want to be super rumor milly, but it sounds like some of the people, again, quote unquote, close to the situation.
Close to the source.
Sources close to the situation are blaming it on Vin Diesel's on-set behavior. That Justin Lin, like, he was, what do you call it, consistently late, and he would show up, like, not knowing his lines and not in shape. And Justin Lin was basically like, dude, how am I supposed to fucking work with a lead actor that's not... he's supposed to lead the franchise, and he ain't showing up,
Right, like, how's this working?
Yeah. And so I wonder, with the way that he made a statement of basically that, I'll be forever grateful. It sounds pretty final, and it makes me think that he will not be doing the 11th film either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot it's a 2-parter, ain't it?
Yeah. And so if he's not doing this one, he's probably not doing that one either.
Yeah.
So
what are you
sucks
gonna
that it fell out, but I just thought it was startling that it was like several, like, just a few days. I think it said they weren't even doing like main shooting. It was like, second production team.
Mm-hmm.
Doing some of the smaller stuff, and that's what they've been working on now when they don't need like a director at the helm, just they're not wasting money or time.
Sure.
But with that being said, let's get into Cinemacon.
Yeah. Is Cinemacon something we can go to? Because I've heard of SoCon, because you got Comic-Con, you told me about Cinemacon, and then SoCon.
Yeah, I've never heard of SoCon. What's SoCon?
Can you soak on these nuts?
No, but for real though, Cinemacon is not like it's not like Comic-Con where you can like buy tickets and just go. At least to my understanding, it is like a industry insider type deal where it's the movie studios presenting all the stuff they've got for this year and the future to like the cinema chain owners as like a sales pitch, basically, of here's what we've got and here's what you're gonna pay us to run it in your theater, right?
Sure.
So we don't have any. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, that's just kind of a bummer. I feel like that'd be like a shit ton of fun to go to something like that.
Right. Well, so that's funny because from everything I was reading about it, it sounds like they're a super mellow crowd, which makes sense if they're being sold. They don't want to be like, oh shit, because then it's like, oh, we got them right here,
Yeah.
We got them where we want them. But so yeah, I think it'd be funny to be sitting in a room and us getting hyped over like the Batman 2, and you've got a cinema chain owner next to you trying to keep his shit together, And
we're over
here. Yeah, exactly. You've got like the fucking, what do you call them, like those inflatable noisemakers from like soccer games.
You are just cosplaying as Batman.
We've got our shirts off with, BM just painted across our bellies.
Batman.
But people think it means bowel movement.
We're looking for 2 gentlemen who have bowel movement written on their chests.
Yeah.
It's Batman, you swine!
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, so yeah, Cinemacon ran last week, and there was actually quite a bit of news. Like I said, we didn't get any of the footage, but we did hear like reactions to some of the stuff that was shown. And we got some actual news out of it. So we're just going to run. I figured the best organized way to do it would be to go by studio. So, excuse me, I'm going to belch loudly. Do I do it into the mic?
Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, no, I'm not going to burp. I'm going to yak. Let me back off it.
No, get
I'm
closer.
A pig. Just.
You hear that? That sells right now. Mukbang.
Ew. All right, so Sony gave us the news of Bad Bunny joining the Sony Spider-Verse by way of the comic book villain El Muerto, who the world went, who? Because El Muerto has only shown up twice in the comics.
I didn't say that doesn't ring a bell.
No. And they're like, people are kind of bent out of shape because it's like, really? El Muerto? Like, and they're making it a whole thing of like, he's our first like Latin American live action person. And it's like, you could have done, like, give us a live action Miles Morales, right?
Yes, Miles Morales please. They fucking did it in No Way Home with Donald Glover, or Homecoming with Donald Glover.
With Donald Glover being the Prowler, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. What I would do to see.
And he is, he's half Latin, half African American.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could do Spider-Man 2099, who is a Mexican American. And it's like, yeah, you could. There are other like more viable Latin characters that you could use. And they just didn't. They were like, we got El Muerto and we got Bad Bunny, which I don't know much about Bad Bunny, but when I hear his name, I don't think, oh man, I love Bad Bunny's acting in that movie.
Yeah,
right?
I've never heard of Bad Bunny, and I was literally about to be like, she bad?
No, so Bad
Like,
Bunny's a dude who's a rapper.
I could still get down with it.
But yeah, so that's all about that. They also had because Across the Spider Verse parts 1 and 2.
There it
There
is.
it was. There it is. It
Money
had to find
shot.
its way back.
Money
So
shot.
we're pigs. Do we leave that in?
Oh, we should totally leave that in.
Excellent. We'll leave this in too. I want them to know that we're never confident in what we're making.
Oh, no.
So Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and 2, like we talked last week, got delayed. Well, this week we found out that Across the Spider-Verse Part 2 was simply going to be retitled and called Beyond the Spider-Verse, which still lends into my tinfoil hat theory that potentially it will end up crossover with live action stuff.
I mean, which I would be very okay with.
If they could pull it off, because it's not the MCU, which is what makes me nervous. It's not the MCU going, excellent, now we have, you know what I mean? It's Sonyverse who have Morbius going, and now we got Miles Morales to use. And I'm like, you sons of bitches.
No. Please.
Please, Miles Morales is my favorite Spider-Man. Don't fucking waste him on the Morbius verse.
You know,
and then, so go ahead.
I was going to think, you know who would be a really good Miles Morales? I don't know if he's Latino. He plays Lucas in Stranger Things. Caleb.
Oh yeah, I don't know his name either.
Caleb McLaughlin.
I don't know if he is, but but from a looks standpoint, yeah, he does. Compared to he fits the design of the animated character from the Spider-Verse films.
As well as I just think he's a good actor. From what I've seen, just in because throughout Stranger Things, I'd say he is not as big of a character. But from the scenes that he's in, he's really good, and I think he's talented, and I think that'd be a really cool opportunity to take.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see what the voice actor, because I know that the voice actor for Miles Morales does kind of look like the drawing, the animation.
Oh,
let's see here.
Word. Yeah. Voice actor for Miles.
His name is Shamik Moore. Nah, he's too adult.
I see here. Let me get eyes on this.
He's a very handsome fella, but he's an adult man. Yeah. So maybe if it's, I say he's an adult man. He's only a year older than me, but still, if he's supposed to be playing a Miles Morales who is, in his in his mid-teens, that won't really work. But either way, we're not here to cast that.
No.
We're gonna keep moving. The last thing from Sony that was anything worth note to me was that Venom will be getting a third installment as well. Which right now it seems like the Venom movies are the only ones that they can independently make to mid-success. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me that they're like, fuck, pump out another Venom. That one did well. But
no, they really didn't.
I mean, if its competition or its comparison is Morbius, yeah, they did.
That's true, yeah.
And right now, those are the only two we have to go on. Obviously, when Kraven comes out, if it's just going to be called Kraven or whatever they call it, Kraven the Hunter, I don't know. We'll see if maybe... I have hopes. Maybe Kraven will be good. I don't like it like we talked when we talked about Morbius. We don't want any of them to be bad.
Right.
They have not instilled a lot of confidence. So we'll see how it goes.
I will say, I'm not sure if I said this last time, and I have a coworker, and if you're listening, I apologize, I'm out and you like this.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you said it on the podcast, but you did say it to me in private.
We were talking, and we're talking about Morbius, and he was like, I think I'm gonna go see it Thursday. I was like, yeah. And I'm chuckling, so I'm like, oh, it's so bad.
It's so bad.
I can't wait to dog on it with him, and he was gone for the weekend, and I was gone, so there was basically 4 or 5 days where we didn't see each other. And as soon as he came back, I got so excited. I was like, oh shit. I was like, dude, what'd you think? And he was like, I went and saw it Thursday. And I said, yeah. And he's like, and then I saw it again Sunday. And I was like, what?
Why?
It's like that zoom in on Peter Quill in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's like, what? He's like, I know, it sounds bad. And I was like, dude, that movie's dog water. It's so bad. And he was trying to defend it for a little bit. And then it came to a point where he was like, yeah. And he started making fun of it too. And I was like,
You told me that he was defending it, and you quoted "You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry."
Yeah.
He was like,
it,
"All right."
he's like, it wasn't that bad, and I was like, you wouldn't like me when I'm hungry. And he's like, all right, all right, all right.
All right, yeah, you might
And I
have
was
me
like,
there.
dude, that's so bad.
All right, next studio, Disney. They honestly didn't have much for the convention, which makes sense because, like, why would they have to fucking show up there? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
these cinema chains are gonna buy any Disney movie that they pump out.
Mm-hmm.
But the bit that they did show was they revealed the official title for Avatar 2, which is Avatar: The Way of Water, as well as they showed some of the very first footage. Obviously, again, we didn't get any of that. That was just to the crowd. But it doesn't sound like the footage was very long, but it did seem to wow the audience from like a visual standpoint. Which again, I mean, that's what the first one did. I hope that there's something more there than just pretty visuals.
Yeah.
It does sound like they gave us like a plot synopsis, and then it follows. It does take place 10 years on, which will kind of explain. They're basically keeping with real time change, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But that it'll follow the Sully family, so it's he and I can't even remember any of the characters' names. It's the guy and the girl, and now it's been 10 years later, and they've got kids, and for whatever reason, they're in the water. Like that's literally all I know. But I mean, I'll go see it. But I'm not like, oh fuck, you're jazzed. I'm not. I'm like,
I'm a little jazzed, man. I don't know.
Maybe I'm just
jazz
a
hands
cynic.
out. You said maybe you're just a simp.
A cynic?
No, I thought you said simp. Could have fooled
You're
me.
a simp. You're a simp.
I might be.
I
got a doctor's appointment next Thursday about it. We'll find out.
Yeah. Oh no, it's bad. I've got terminal simpness.
Doctor comes in. Chris, I got some bad news for you.
No. But yet, you have to go home. Like they got to wait for test results to come back. And they give you a call, and they're like, "Are you sitting down?"
Yeah, why don't you sit down?
It turns out you're a simp. Like,
what? No, there's got to be a mistake.
Anything but that. Are you sure they're my results?
You didn't mix them up with anybody else, did you?
No, we're positive, son. You're a simp. No, the only other thing that Disney popped out was that they showed like the first 20 minutes of Doctor Strange, which apparently the audience was like, that shit was intense. So I don't know if it was intensely good, intensely bad, or what, but they showed like 20 minutes of it. So, and like I said, that's pretty much all Disney had because they have no reason to go there.
Right.
So Warner Brothers actually had like some of the biggest shit. They showed the first poster for Margot Robbie's Barbie movie, which when I first heard about a Barbie movie, I was kind of like, oh, yuck. Like, I don't really think. But it looks like they're taking like a comedic run on it. Like it'll maybe be I almost think like a live action, I don't know, like a live action Toy Story or something like that, where like she's playing Barbie, and it is supposed to be a comedy because like Will Ferrell's also cast in it. And Ryan Gosling is cast in it to be Ken.
Of course.
And I can't think of the actress's name. The young lady who looks a lot like Margot Robbie from the Netflix series Sex Education. She's got like the dyed hair.
Yes.
I can't think of her name. Jimmy, pull that up.
Yeah.
But either way, it's got a pretty good cast in it, and I was like, man. And the poster looks very like she's driving like the pink like Malibu Barbie, you know, the Mercedes or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it looks like it'll be.
Emma Mackey.
I like Margot Robbie. Emma Maggie. Okay.
Mackey. Mackey.
Mackey. Like Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
But no relation, I assume. But yeah, so they showed a poster for that. And then apparently, like, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis biopic that they're always playing ads for in front of every movie we go see sold extremely well to, like, the theater owners. They were all like, oh, fuck, we gotta get that movie. Which
I was telling you in the movie theater, I was like, because, you know, as we're doing this podcast, we go to the theater more and more, which I love.
Right.
But I've been seeing this trailer. When I first saw it, I was like, like I've seen so many of these. You know, we had Queen, Elton John, the Beatles. You know, It's not that they're not bad, but it's just like I've seen them. You know, like I get it.
Yeah, you've seen one, musician biopic.
You've seen them all. Right, and so, but as I'm seeing it, I was like, shit.
Why is this looking good? Yeah,
it looks good. It looks really, really good. It maybe takes, I don't know, because like, you know, in Rocket Man, it does, you know, a lot of them talk about like drug abuse and stuff like that, but I don't know, in this one it just seems a little darker.
Yeah.
Because, you know, especially for like Elton John.
Rights movements.
Yeah, and especially with Elton John, you know, he was able to kind of break that addiction, where with Elvis, he did not. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I've always thought it looked decent. I mean, I was never like, shit, I want to go see that. But I was like, oh, I mean, that, if that, I might rent that or whatever. But I'm with you. The more I see the trailer, the more I'm like, damn, do I want to see that in theaters?
Yeah,
like,
that looks real good.
But yeah, so apparently, whatever new footage they showed at Cinemacon, the cinema owners were like, shit, give me that one. So that's cool. And then the biggest first bit of news that came out that made people go, oh shit, Cinemacon? Like, what's this? Was that the Batman has been greenlit for a sequel officially. Obviously, I mean, it surprised no one, but it was good to get official, yeah, we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's obviously no plot details or anything. It was just simply them going, yeah, we're going to start putting money aside for a sequel.
Which word on the street was God, I don't know if this is fake or not.
You were probably clicking on fucking Facebook clickbait articles, weren't you?
I might have. But it was
I've been known to do it.
They didn't confirm anything, but it was they weren't sure if they were going to use the what?
Mr. Freeze?
No. They weren't sure if they were going to use Robert Pattinson again because him and oh my goodness, why am I blanking on her name? Zoe
Kravitz?
Yeah. Done got caught having sex on the Batmobile.
I don't buy that.
I mean, have you seen Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them both, but I mean, that sounds like something that somebody who watches too many Batman interviews was like, oh shit, can you imagine what it would be like if the two of them did it on the Batmobile?
Dude, I'm so bad. I eat that shit up so much too.
You do.
I'm a simple man. I'll be like,
what? No way. Even better is
that.
It probably wasn't even an article. It was you saw it on Instagram and it was a screenshot of a Facebook article. It was literally just the headline and you're like, word? Double tap to like, and then you just kept scrolling.
No fucking way. You're joking. You're pulling my leg.
Why didn't anybody else tell me about this? It's because it's not real. The next thing from Warner Brothers that was pretty big was that the Flash footage did really well, despite obviously Ezra Miller's legal issues right now. But apparently a big driving force behind the hype was that Michael Keaton, it was pretty front and center in the trailer that they showed. And it has him in his own bat suit. So people are the cinema owners are like, dude, nostalgia is so hot right now. Having the Spider-Man back and now to get, the original, on-screen Batman to come back, people are going to cream their jeans and they're going to be there for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck. I love the Batman.
Oh, I'm creaming.
Batman 1989 is my shit. So I'm jazzed. I'm here for it.
I'm so jazzed.
Paramount really didn't have anything other than they showed what the fuck's Top Gun Maverick, but
yeah, snooze fest there.
But they released the title of the next Mission Impossible film, which is going to be called Dead Reckoning Part 1. So they're going for the two-parter thing again.
They're still making those?
Oh yeah. I went and saw 6 Fallout.
Yeah.
Shit was a banger. They're solid action movies.
Word.
Yeah. And then Lionsgate actually had quite a few things of note. Keanu Reeves apparently came out on stage to hype up John Wick Chapter 4. And they also announced that they cast Ana de Armas in the lead role of their John Wick spinoff called Ballerina, which is set to start production this summer. And it's based around the ballerina assassins that we see in Chapter 3.
Yeah.
When he goes to the opera house or whatever.
That's because that's where they train them.
Yeah. And frickin' Ana de Armas is a beautiful woman. She's everywhere right now. She's a very good actress. And in the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, she actually does get a pretty brief but a very engaging action scene. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited to see her get a whole John Wick style action movie.
I sit whenever anything John Wick comes across me, I'm sitting in Elmer's glue.
Yeah, you're just immediately
dude, it's way too good. Okay, hear me out. The first one, banger. Second one,
we've literally had this conversation.
Banger. Third one, it was all right.
Yeah, this whole interaction has happened before.
And I'll say it again. I'll take that shit to my grave.
We'll do it next week, kids. It's just a whole new segment. We don't even. It's not even got a name. We just slip in John Wick rankings.
John Wick. Yes.
The first one, banger. Second one, banger.
Third one,
right. It's all right. And then eventually, when there's like 9 of them, we just have to keep ranking them.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we will too.
There was some footage shown of the Borderlands video game adaptation, and it was apparently pretty vibrant and kind of campy, but in a good way. And it got pretty positive reactions from the theater owners, so maybe it'll be a good video game adaptation.
Ooh, hopefully.
And then the last thing from Lionsgate was that they kind of sparked up some buzz around a Hunger Games prequel movie called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is based on the prequel novel of the same name.
Okay.
That's the only book out of the Hunger Games I haven't read. But my wife read it and she really enjoyed it.
Dude.
My understanding is that it's about like the first Hunger Games.
Dude.
Yeah.
We talked about this. You remember the era of Maze Runner, Hunger Games, Divergent series? It's coming back. It's coming back.
Maybe.
It's because I said something about it. I know it.
Yeah, Lionsgate went, oh shit. Chris on the Simply Well podcast.
He said that shit was gas. We got to bring that back. Bring it back.
They've got an audience of hundreds. Bring them in.
Yes.
Literally more than 90 people have listened to this podcast.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything from Cinemacon. Do you have anything out of that you like want to come back to and talk about?
No, I mean, really, we covered everything. We kind of, went aside and
we pumped the brakes on the ones we wanted to touch.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see here. Make sure I covered everything. Yep, I'm bad to skip over bullet points and then later come back and go, damn, I meant to talk about that. So yeah, no, it looks like we're good. So then it's time for Doctor Strange comics, baby.
Yeah.
So I read Doctor Strange: The Oath, which is from 2007, and you read, what was it?
Doctor Strange: The Way of the Weird.
Yeah. So mine was 5 issues, and it was written by Brian K. Vaughan, and it was released in 2007. I think I already said that. And then who was yours written by, and when was it from?
It was made in 2015, and it was made by Jason Aaron.
Jason Aaron. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. So do you want to go through yours first, or do you want me to go through mine?
Actually, I'm kind of jazzed about mine. I'd like to go about mine first.
Yeah, get in there, bub.
So, Doctor Strange: Way of the Weird, you get, it's like 2 pages of like how Doctor Strange became, or how Stephen Strange became Doctor Strange, but very quick, very brief about it, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. And then it has a cold opening of him fighting this, inner dimension monster.
Yeah.
But in this one, he not only is waving his fingers, doing cool magic tricks, but he's also got a fucking sword.
Oh, word?
Oh yeah, and he's slicing and dicing these bitches. And
I've got something better for you, but I'm gonna hold it off until I get to it in my notes. You're gonna go, what?
But no, so yeah, he's slicing and dicing. He even says, kind of to himself,
slicing
he's
and
like,
dicing?
"No, I wish." No,
he even goes to himself, "I'm slicing and dicing these bitches."
Yeah. So, anyways, I started blasting, but he says to himself, I always try to use magic, but there are some circumstances where I just have to kill him. I just gotta be an animal.
Skill works better than a spell,
But the whole story behind this one is Doctor Strange is really starting to open up and use his third eye, and he can see interdimensional, almost like bacteria, like bacterial monsters that leech on people.
Okay.
And he says not all of them are bad either. Like there's some that are good, and then there's some that don't really have any effect. But then there's the ones where those ones are bad.
Yeah,
the life out of you.
That one.
And then a woman, comes to his crib, the Sanctum of Santorum.
The Sanctum Santorum comes to his crib. Yeah. This is where the magic happens,
Well, and it is because Doctor Strange.
It is literally where the magic happens.
Yeah, it is. And in this series, he is a ladies' man. Like they talk about it in the movie, but in this one, he is slinging dick.
He's just tearing the pussy
hard, like real hard.
Call him the kitty slayer,
Well,
he's got that sword out and he's just swing.
He doesn't have a cape in this one. When he's in his everyday, it turns into a scarf. And I was like, that's not too bad. Like that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
I see. But then, Strange.
Essentially, this girl comes in. She's like, I think I got a problem. And she takes off this beanie and literally has a face monster growing out of her head. And Doctor Strange is like, boo! I don't know what this is.
Gotta tell you, that's not normal.
Yeah, I've never seen this. And basically, it's almost like not fleas, not lice, but maggots.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and
Okay.
so yeah, and they're going through, they're trying to kill it, and then the ancient one, basically, we see this prophecy of, well, when you see something like this, that's, they're all trying to escape, they're all trying to run out. It's for a reason. They're all trying to get to the world for a reason. So there's a bigger
Yeah.
storm
There's
coming.
something chasing them. Yeah. It's like when rats are running all in one direction.
Right, right. And then well, you do see a tidbit, and basically that's the whole story. Is he fights them, he's trying to find out more, and it
Yeah.
is
Why
just
are
a
they coming
short
here?
5 series, but it
Yeah.
kind of cuts off into another series that was made in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So it kind
I
of
did,
like leads into
yeah, I
another one.
didn't, yeah, I didn't read it just because since you had 5 and I had 5, I was like, well, I'll talk about what I had.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
because we looked up the Way of the Weird, and it was that those 5 issues that it considered the Way of the Weird.
but I will say, and it's something I'm hoping to maybe see in the Multiverse of Madness.
Uh-huh.
In Doctor Strange: The Way of the Weird, there is a bar that has
Okay.
no door, and it's called the Bar with No Door. And
Okay.
it's only witches and wizards can get in there. And so we got to see Scarlet Witch, and shit, who else was in there? A couple other people I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember going like, oh shit, Scarlet Witch is in this.
Right. Yeah.
And like they're talking, and essentially Doctor Strange is just this asshole who is incredibly late because he like had a meeting to talk about this
Yeah.
big storm of what's going on, and he gets there, he's like, sorry I'm late, and they're like, dude, everyone fucking left, like, you're hours late.
You're a
He's like,
fuckhead.
you know me.
Yeah. You know how I be.
Yeah, but it ends with Doctor Strange hitting on the girl that came up to the
Sanctum Sanctorum with the
with
face
the
head.
head monster, and he's basically like, if you want, because she's a librarian, and he basically went on to say like, if you want, you can study some of my books. And I was like,
I got
okay,
something you can study.
yeah, there. But it was pretty good, and I do have interest in continuing to see what was going on.
Word. So I took like long notes. Oops. So I'm gonna I'll jump through them. I'm not gonna read every single. I basically wrote them all down just so I could remember. I basically gave myself step by step what happens, but I'm not gonna just read it off like Louise from Ant-Man. So yeah, mine was called The Oath, and mine, unlike yours, was very self-contained. Like it ends on a boom. There we go. That's the end of the story. It opens on. It also has a cold opening where Strange is. It opens on like a clinic, and it's got Iron Fist there with like his leg up and like holding ice on his knee, and a young lady that I didn't recognize, but she had a spider emblem on her chest. So I'm not sure if maybe she was Silk or somebody like that, just in a costume that I don't recognize. But they're basically trading notes on like, what happened to you, and they're having just casual conversation, waiting on some doctor to come check them out. And then the front door gets busted open, and somebody's carrying in Doctor Strange, basically yelling like, "Please help! My master's been shot. We need help! We need help!" And you come to find out that this is the night nurse's clinic.
Okay.
And we saw the night nurse in the Daredevil, like the Netflix series. Yeah. She was played by Rosario Dawson. Because the night nurse is somebody who that's her whole specialty, is that she treats superpowered people. And she's opened a clinic for them, right? And the nice thing about this Doctor Strange is that he is a Doctor Strange who has a friends with the Heroes for Hire, which is Iron Fist, it's Danny Rand,
right.
And Power Man, Luke Cage. And but yeah, so Wong is who's carrying him in. And in this, Wong is not like in the movie. He is more like a Shaolin monk. He's more martial arts than the mystic arts, and it seems like he's basically Doctor Strange's ward. So he's carrying him in. And he's like, "My guy's been shot. Like he's been shot. Help him!" And basically, the night nurse is like tells Iron Fist and the girl to be like, "All right, you guys got to beat that shit. Like get out of here. This patient obviously needs more attention than you two." It's kind of neat because you get to see him, Doctor Strange, astral project because he's not dead, right? He's very weak. And so he astral projects and is basically helping the night nurse treat him. So he kind of gets to go into doctor mode. And is helping her perform surgery on him and all that, and is talking to her. And he's like making jokes about like his insurance being good there. Like, let me know if there's a copay, things like that. And she's basically trying to figure out how he got shot. How do you get shot? and somebody broke into the Sanctum Sanctorum and wanted to steal something from them. And when Strange was defending the house, he got shot, and he doesn't know like how it worked, right? Yeah, I don't know how they got through my defenses or whatever. And it turns out that the thing they came there to steal was this elixir that Strange had come into possession of. And then we kind of get like a flashback fade to 20 hours earlier, right?
Sure.
And Wong is straight talking. They're just being bros in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and he kind of gets lightheaded and like falls over, and Strange is like, "You good, my guy?" And that's when he tells him like, "I've got terminal brain cancer. Like, I've been hiding that shit from you because I didn't want you to freak out. But yeah, I'm not doing well. I've gotten like several opinions, and basically Strange is like unacceptable. Like, I'll get you the care you need, whatever." And you kind of get to see him deal with the stress or like the trauma, I guess, of not being able to use his hands because he is a brain surgeon, and he basically acts like he's going to treat. I'll take the tumor out, And then he looks down at his hands, and you can like they're shaking, they're just constantly trembling, and he's like, "Shit, I can't do it," So then he comes up, he's like, "All right, you know what? If I can't do it as a doctor, I'll do it as the Sorcerer Supreme. Well, let's go, Wong. Get my coat." And they
to the Batcave.
Yeah, to the Batcave. And so they go stomping the beat, right? They're walking through like Chinatown and shit. And Wong's like, "Where the fuck are you taking me?" Like we go to some weird back alley doctor in Chinatown. And he's like, "No, there's like an interdimensional pocket here that I know of, and there should be this elixir that can cure cancer in this other dimension." And he's like, "Word." He's like, "We just got to find the door." So they end up getting there. Wong's like holding off these fucking thugs with his kung fu moves, right? And Strange slips into this other dimension, and there's just this god awful ugly beast. And Strange even is like, "Oh Jesus," He ends up killing it, and is like, "Yeah, he's got it. It's this elixir in like a jar hanging by a chain." He's like, "I got that shit. We're good." And that's what the got that shit on lock. And that's what that intruder came to get. Because before he could treat Wong, he wanted it sent off and like tested to make sure it was safe, right?
Sure.
And while they're waiting on the results to come back, this guy named Brigand, who I didn't recognize, but he was some sort of costumed thief, busts into Sanctum Sanctorum, and Strange hits him with that, like, "You better get the fuck out of my house," and throws up some sort of shield. And he pulls out a fucking gun. I mean, it's like a Walter PPK. It's like a German pistol from like World War II. And he just shoots him, and it goes right through his defenses and kills him, or hits him in the chest, and he thinks he's killed him. And then we get to see that guy. Yeah, like, bap! We get to see that guy go back to whoever he's been hired by, and is like, "Oh, don't worry about Strange. I killed that guy." And he's like, "What? Why would you do that? Why would you? I didn't tell you to kill him. I told you to steal that shit." And he's like, "Well, he got in the way, right?" He's like, "How would you even kill the Sorcerer Supreme?" And he's like, "Oh, I've got the pistol," and he holds it up. And he's like, "This is the pistol that Hitler used to kill himself, and it's got a bunch of dark enchantments on it, and it can get through pretty much any magic." And the guy's like, "Word." I'm not even gonna ask. It checks out,
I'm no mathematologist, but that checks out.
Yeah, that seems right. And then, we get a little bit of a, "All right, now that I'm all patched up and you fixed me, the night nurse," it catches us up to like the present, right? He's like, "Wong and I have to go out into the night and find the guy that stole that shit because I still need it." And she's like, "Oh, I'm coming with you." And he's like, "You really shouldn't. Like, I'm good." And she's like, "You've got a straight up bullet wound in your chest. I should probably be with you in case you tear your stitches or something." He's like, "Fine, let's go." And
damn it, you're good.
Damn, you're good. Yeah. And then Wong's over there having like fucking brain aneurysms and blacking out. And so she's like, "You guys are not in good shape. I should probably stick with you."
Yeah.
So they're running around town, and Strange is like, "We'll go to the doctor that I sent my stuff off to get tested because he should still have a sample of it." Like, word bet. So they go there, and he's like hidden it in this weird fog, and they get up in that place, and she's asking him who the hell could test this stuff, and it's some doctor that he went to med school with that he trusts with his everything, right? Well, the guy's dead. He's been killed.
Oh.
And Strange is like, "Boof." And that's when the night nurse is like, "Yeah, this guy got shot in the chest, same as you, same caliber. I'm pretty sure it was the same dude." And he's like, "Fuck, all right. Well, we got to find this guy." So he casts a bippity boppity boop spell. You see some footsteps. He's like, let's do this. Let's boogie. So they go following. Let's make like a tree and get out of here. So they follow the footsteps, and they come to some weird like interdimensional like pocket dimension hideout, and he and Wong are both like, this has got to be fucking Baron Mordo, which in the movies is, Chupacabra for.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh shit, we're gonna see Baron Mordo. And they get in the room, and they get ambushed by Stark Tech security droids. And he and Wong are both like, what the fuck? Baron Mordo does not use Stark Tech. And so they fight the fucking droids. And then they turn around, and Brigand is there, and he's got that damn Hitler pistol to the night nurse's head. And, he's like, fuck. And, so Strange is trying to talk the guy down. And he's like telling the night nurse, don't be fucking stupid. Like, don't do anything dumb. Yeah. He says something about Brigand having, I'm sorry, am I fucking...
What?
I heard you yawn, and am I fucking boring you?
No. Scared the shit out of me. I was like, I know.
What? I know, you could hear it in your voice, like, huh? No, but, yeah, Brigand is there.
Hey, young thug is a little sleepy.
I'm sleepy. No, so yeah, Strange is trying to talk down Brigand, and the night nurse starts getting shitty with him, with Brigand. She's like, you got a deviated septum? Because your voice is so damn nasally annoying. And he's like, what the fuck did you say to me? And she's like, no, I'm just saying, like, a guy in your line of work, he probably had a few nose breaks, right? And he's basically like, shut up, bitch. And he, like, hits her. And she fucking headbutts him and breaks his nose. And then dives away from him. And Wong, like, throws some fucking ninja stars at him and catches him. And then Strange throws him in some mystic chains and, like, ties him up. And it's like, damn, they made a pretty good trio. Like, rocked that dude's world. And she insulted his voice, broke his nose. He got stabbed with a ninja star. And then he's just got chains on him. And he's like, Jesus. So apparently, like, all of his security droids were stuff that he'd stolen. So he must be, like, a pretty good, thief. Mm-hmm. So Strange is like, all right, who are you working for? And he's like, literally, I can't tell you. Like, the guy I work for cast some sort of weird spell that I'm not allowed to talk. And so then he and Wong are like, yeah, it's definitely Mordo. So he's like, all right, well, we're going to do this the hard way. And he opens some weird portal and is like, I'm going into your brain. And the night nurse is like, what? You can do that? And he's like, yeah, I got it. So he goes in the guy's head.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, I'm the fucking Sorcerer Supreme. And so he goes in there. And he's fighting off of, Brigand's, like, brain defenses. And he fucking is chasing the guy down. And he's like, who do you work for? And fucking Nightmare, who's, like, I believe he's one of the sons of Mephisto. Mm-hmm. I could be totally wrong. I think, I don't know much of the mystic stuff from Marvel. But him and Dormammu are both there and are like, yeah, like, you're asking for who he's working for. It's us, baby. Which Dormammu was the bad guy in the first movie.
Yeah, I know who Dormammu is.
Yeah, Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Yeah, I've come to bargain.
So Strange is like, Dormammu, you ugly bitch, where's your sister? And Dormammu's like, whoa, why don't you fucking let me worry about where my sister is? And that's when Strange is like, psych, gotcha, bitch. Nightmare rides a black horse, and Dormammu has a brother, not a sister. You're fucking playing me. And you're like, oh, damn, he knows his shit, right? And so Brigand is like, shit, And because he was hoping, like, Strange would be like, yeah, it ain't worth it,
Yeah.
And so then it's finally revealed that the boss, there's like a little flashback, right? And we get to see Strange lose his hands in his car accident and all that. And his friend that had been killed is there to comfort him, right? And the surgeon comes in and tells him, like, we thought we were going to have to amputate, but we managed to save your hands, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that physician gets thanked by, like, a few patients that had been turned away by Strange for, like, taking his hands from him, basically. Like, great, now he can't practice medicine. Yeah, so Strange was apparently a piece of shit, because he's got patients that are like, thank God he can no longer practice medicine because he's a fuckhead. And that doctor's, like, racked with guilt, because now he's like, shit, all these people think it's my fault he can't practice medicine, and he's a very gifted surgeon. Mm-hmm. So he goes... walkabout and is following Strange basically as Strange went around the world, right? And ends up getting trained by the Sorcerer Supreme, or by the Ancient One.
Yeah.
And he tried to heal one of those brain tumor patients of Strange's that he rejected, and he was the way he explains it is he tried to get the white blood cells to attack the tumor, and instead they just attacked everything, and the dude's head fucking explodes.
Jesus.
Yeah, swells up and pops like a balloon. And so then he's like, rough. And so he blames magic. He's thinking, like, okay, now I got to stop. I got to try and use what I know about the dark arts to, like, help people. and stop other people from using the dark arts. And so all of that is revealed to Strange that it's that guy running the show, and he works for a pharmaceutical company now. And so Strange's assumption is that the pharmaceutical company doesn't want this elixir that can cure cancer, because then they're out of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, like he said, to the Batcave, So he and Wong and the night nurse go back to my clinic, the night nurse's clinic, fucking chill out, because we're all kind of beat up. And then in the morning, we'll go get that guy. And Strange is like, word.
I'm making waffles.
So Strange is like, word, you right. Oh, I forgot to mention. She's like, all right, what are we going to do with Brigand? And he's like, well, there's no evidence because magic hid the tracks, so we can't call the cops on him. So I'll put him in a prison of my own making. And like basically puts him inside the portal to his own brain. So like basically the guy is just trapped inside his own head now and doesn't exist anywhere. No, he doesn't. His body doesn't exist. Like literally,
my God.
He just doesn't exist anymore. And the night nurse is like, what the fuck? Like, what about due process? And Strange straight up looks at her over his shoulder, and the framing is real dark and shit. So he's like, he goes, sorcerers have a little patience for the laws of nature, and even less for the laws of man. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
You're a monster.
Yeah, you're a villain. You just destroyed that guy. Like,
you're sick.
And so nobody mentions it. The night nurse is just like, yeah, makes sense, And so they head back to her clinic, and it's like burning to the ground. And there's just this giant interdimensional squid being just enveloping the building. Mm-hmm. And Strange is like, all right, you guys better get the fuck out of here. And they're like, why? And he's like, every sorcerer supreme that has fought that guy since the 1500s has died. And they're like, well, why aren't you coming with us? And he's like, because I'm impossible. And he goes flying in there to fight this thing, right? Immediately gets his shit rocked. Like, it eats his cloak of levitation, and his Eye of Agamotto falls in its mouth, and he's just getting fucked up. And Wong comes running in with his brain tumor and starts kicking the squid. And
just imagine 2 hands on the counter. You're kicking this thing to a pulp. You got
and it's not working. No, this squid's giant, and he's basically just kicking a wall. And the squid just grabs him up in his tentacles, and then grabs the night nurse too. And Strange is like, fucking let him go. And he pulls out the Hitler pistol and fucking is trying to steady his shaky ass hands. And Wong and the night nurse are both basically like, don't you fucking shoot at us, you shaky-handed bitch. And he's like, I got it. And he takes the shot and just brains the squid gangland style. And so that's what I was talking about when you were like, he's got a sword and he's slashing shit up. Well, mine's got his piece on him. He's packing heat.
He's packing lead.
Yeah, he's got the strap,
Not just any kind of lead. Hitler's lead.
Hitler's dark arts pistol that he killed himself with. And so he straight up shoots that squid in the forehead and kills it. And then they're like, all right, well, where to, since the fucking clinic is burned down? And Strange basically catches a sniff like a fucking bloodhound and is like, I know who summoned this thing. And I'm going to go there. Wong, you take the night nurse back to the Sanctum Sanctorum. They'll be safe there. And them being stubborn sidekicks are like, nah, we're with you till the end of the line, baby. So he's like, all right, word. He doesn't really put up much of a struggle. I get the vibe that this Doctor Strange doesn't really care about people too much. Mm-hmm. And so he opens a portal, and he goes to that pharmaceutical company's HQ, and Nicodemus is there, and basically gives his side of the story, which is basically what I told you, condensed down, that, who he is and why he did what he did. And he claims that he wants to destroy the elixir, not because of, Strange's assumption that, it's bad for business, but because it would cure not just cancer, but all diseases. And Strange is like, what? I didn't know that. Like, shit, let's get it, And he's like, no, if there's no more illness, the world will just strip itself of all resources because the population will explode, right? Mm. There's nothing, keeping things in check. And Strange is like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not buying it. And he just immediately breaks the, spell that was holding them in place. And Nicodemus is like, you could get out all that time? And he's like, yeah, I'm the fucking Sorcerer Supreme.
And, do you know who I am?
Yeah. And Wong straight collapses just for, no warning. He's like, And he goes down, and fucking Night Nurse is like, straight up, Wong has no pulse. And Strange is like, you keep that heart pumping. I'm gonna go get this fucking elixir. And Nicodemus grabs it and scoots. He runs to the roof. Strange gets up there, and he starts to cast a spell to just, kill the guy, I'm assuming, because that's what this guy does. And Nicodemus is like, which is that doctor. I don't know if I said that.
Yes.
Yeah, Nicodemus interrupts him with some sort of spell that makes it so that neither of them can cast magic for the next 3 minutes. And is like, we're going to fight like fucking men. And he starts taking his shirt off, and he's fucking ripped. And he's like, "You've been training your mind. I've been training my body." And Strange is like, "All right, fuck, all right." And he takes off the cloak and the Eye of Agamotto. Let's do this thing. And the fucking Nicodemus basically calls him a frail old man. And it's like, damn, I had to do him like that. And,
come on now.
Come on, wait a minute. And Strange is just getting his shit kicked in. And Nicodemus is like super confident and is like, "You're not even fucking trying." And he's like, "I'm not getting my shit kicked. I'm letting you exhaust yourself and waiting for my moment." And he's like, "Huh?" And Strange just kicks him right in the fucking gut and knocks the dude back. And he stands up and he's like, "That guy that's dying downstairs, Wong, I'm his master of the dark arts, but he is my master in the martial arts. And he's trained me how to fight your fucking ass." And Nicodemus is like, "Shit." And Strange just starts kicking the fuck out of him. And
fuck.
I mean, he's rocking this dude's world. And the guy's like, and he picks up the fucking elixir and is trying to get away. And Strange starts like attacking him at his heart. And he's like, "You're not doing all this because you think that like magic was the problem. You failed that patient because you were too stupid to use magic well." And you're like, whoa, you ain't got to be doing them like that either. You're just
now,
like,
yeah, they're hitting home.
Verbally sparring as they're punching each other. And Nicodemus is just trying to get away from him, and he trips and falls off the roof, holding the elixir.
Mm-hmm.
And so Strange tries to cast a spell to save him, but that fucking sand timer spell is still ticking away. And so Nicodemus just fucking splats on the pavement, right? And Strange is like, shit. And then the magic comes back, and he flies down there with the cloak, and Nicodemus is dead. And the elixir is shattered on the pavement, but there's just a bit of it sitting in like a piece of the broken glass. And he's like, dibs, and he picks it up. And Nicodemus's like astral projection, who is like, I ain't got much time, but I figured I'd tell you, like, you're right about the magic. It was my fault, whatever. But also, now you have like a really shitty decision to make. Do you use that little bit that's there to cure the world of illness, or do you use it to save Wong, right? And then that's where the whole thing about the oath comes in, because he took an oath as the Sorcerer Supreme to protect the world. But he also says that he took an oath first, and that was the Hippocratic Oath. And that says that any patient that is under his care must be saved if he is capable of doing so. So he goes and he cures Wong and takes him back to the fucking Sanctum Sanctorum. You've been asleep for like 28 hours. You just keep resting. Strange is like, no. Why don't you just set up your fucking clinic here? And she's like, are you sure? And then he straight just fucking kisses her on the mouth at the comic.
That's right. Yep. A little stud muffin.
Yeah. I ran you through the whole thing, but and I probably made it sound bad, but it was actually pretty good.
I want to tell you, I skipped over it when I was talking about mine. Wong in The Way of the Weird is basically his fucking bitch.
Word.
Yeah, like he's a chef. He cooks for him.
Damn.
And like that's about it. Like that's really all you see. And he's like with him here and there. Like that's about it.
Yeah, or at least in this, Wong is like, he's a capable fighter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it is interesting to see that in the movies, like right now he's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, Wong is.
Yeah, because, Strange was gone for 5 years with the snap. And so it's interesting that, in the comics, that was not really even a setup. It was like, this guy is basically his slave boy. And now it's like, no, he's a real player, game. So it is interesting that they decided to do that with him. I'm glad.
I like Wong's character too.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm sure I butchered it by just burning through it, but that's how I do.
That's how we do around here.
Got any questions for me? I'll answer them all, baby. You hit it.
No, I mean, you went into detail about everything, so you cleared it pretty well.
Yeah, you're right, I did.
Did you have any questions about mine?
Was did he talk about it? Because in mine, I didn't really get into it in my notes. There a lot of people make passing comments about that he's like a paranormal investigator, basically. Like he's basically a detective that specializes in the paranormal, which I thought was kind of an interesting take on him as a detective character. What was your Strange just a fighter or?
No, he in the very beginning with that cold opening when he's fighting that interdimensional demon beast.
Yeah,
it turns out he's just in some random person's house. So it kind of makes it feel like he's a Ghostbuster, like people call him, like, have you experienced something paranormal? Call me at 1-800-GHOST-NOW, and he comes over there and, gets rid of it. But, there was it was kind of funny, there's a part in it, and he's saving someone's daughter, because she has, some mind worms or whatever, and the dad's like, how can we repay you? And he, starts having a stroke, and then comes to, and he's like, your neighbor is, has the biggest fear of dying alone, and his birthday's tomorrow. bake him a cake and be there with him, and then jumps out the window. And I'm just like, what the fuck? He's suddenly just seizing up, and then he's like, your neighbor's terrified of dying alone. Bake him a cake and be there with him for his birthday tomorrow.
And then he just
flies.
like, you know,
And he jumps out the window and flies into the night.
I will say, and I don't know if this is a comment on the character or the comics that I read, but this didn't inspire me to read more like the Moon Knight that we read did. Like when I read the Moon Knight comics that we read, I was like, shit, I want to read more Moon Knight. I want to know more about, and I don't think this got me as much. And I don't know if I picked a bad comic, but
well, I mean, we both picked. You picked the #1 Doctor Strange comic book, and I picked the second best.
Like we literally looked up like Doctor Strange comics to read before the Multiverse of Madness, and this The Oath was #1, and The Way of the Weird too. And like I said, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, but it didn't make me go, fuck, I want to see more Doctor Strange.
Right. I think that's also, we know more about Doctor Strange than we do Moon Knight, and Moon Knight's maybe a little more gritty, which is more our scene. Like we like gritty, we like blood. This is more like mystical, third eye.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like the mystics as much as I do the. But I don't know. I guess what I like about Moon Knight more necessarily is that there is opportunity for like a bit of character study and looking at his mental health and the morals of what he's doing. Whereas Strange here is just straight up like he is perfectly confident in what he's doing.
Right.
And so I think that a conflicted character might be more interesting.
Absolutely. I agree with you there.
Yeah. But overall, I would say that I was overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely. No, it was still definitely really fun to see the comic, some comic book adaptation of Doctor Strange, and I knew he was a ladies' man in the movie. They kind of made it seem that way.
Yeah.
But they like, I feel like they dulled that down in the movie than the comic books. They really were like, oh no, he's a smooth talker. Like, yeah, he's got a high ego, but he knows
able to back it up.
Yeah. He's packing schmeat,
He's the schmeat packer.
Yeah. I am the meat man. Right. My meat is delicious.
So then, is it time to move on? You think?
I reckon. Wait.
Do you want me to introduce you?
Do you hear that? Welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, Chris.
I was gonna get you with the boxers intro.
Yeah. Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready for Cryptid.
So. This week,
who you got for me?
I actually, it's a very well-known one, but I wanted to talk about it because I haven't heard about this cryptid in a while. The Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, Chupacabra.
The fucking vampire goat.
Yeah, so the Chupacabra, meaning goat sucker, I barely know, is another very well-known.
Me the goat,
Shut the fuck up. The Chupacabra, meaning goat sucker, is another very well-known but different type of cryptid. It has been reported by farmers all across Central America, the Caribbean, which I did not know, and southern United States since the late 1990s. So this is still pretty modern.
Relatively recent, yeah.
The mysterious creature has been blamed for the slaughter of livestock by draining them of their blood. The first mention of this creature came out in 1995 in Puerto Rico by a woman named, I might butcher this, Madeline Tolentino, who said the Chupacabra killed her goats and left puncture wounds in them as those of a vampire. The descriptions of the Chupacabra vary much more than descriptions of the Bigfoot. Some witnesses claim that the Chupacabra is a 5-foot tall reptile, while others claim that it looks more like a hairless dog with spines running down its back. Which honestly kind of almost sound the same. Like when a reptile, I kind of picture an iguana, and with the hairless, yeah, it's like that kind of sounds like an iguana. So like I could see the comparison.
But I look at it's a 5-foot reptile. That's a big motherfucker.
That's huge. Some even say that the creature is an extraterrestrial and has connected it to the UFO sightings. However, the various descriptions of the Chupacabra have several overlapping and defining characteristics. One of them being nocturnal, glowing red eyes, scaly skin, and possessing razor-sharp fangs and claws. The Chupacabra is like a vampire, is said to feed on the blood of its victims, mostly goats and other small livestock, using a pair of deadly fangs. Animals killed by the Chupacabra are almost completely drained of blood,
Additionally, the Chupacabra is supposed to be extremely vicious and hostile to everything and everyone it encounters.
Damn.
So I mean, with it, I think it's interesting because obviously you have like your Bigfoot, and that's a little more out there. Where this one, it's pretty like, yeah, it drains the animals. The sightings or the descriptions of it are pretty down to the, it's a 5 foot. It's got scales and looks like a hairless dog, so maybe all on all fours and spines running down. It matches up pretty well. And then I got a picture here, and I don't know.
Well, pictures work really well on an audio. I'll tell you that.
It really does. It really does.
Like the audience can really describe it. Like
I don't know. Maybe we'll put it in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
That's more work for me.
But no, I thought this one was really interesting, especially knowing like how recent it is, because obviously I was like, cryptids date all the way back to like the 1800s, the early 1900s.
Right.
This one literally kicked up 6 years before I was born.
Yeah, and it is interesting to me that like I always assumed that it was like a southwestern United States type thing, so to know that it started in Puerto Rico was odd to me. Like I always pictured it being Mexican, or like I said, Southwest United States.
Yeah, so no, very interesting stuff. And maybe I'll do some more, like, more well-known, and just do a deeper dive into them, find out some stuff that I didn't know about them.
Yeah, and I do think, and again, with it being super modern compared to some of the others, I think it's odd that, or not odd, but noteworthy that it's the first one that we've talked about where people are like, is it an alien? Which would make sense in the context of, it was in the 90s and people know about aliens and stuff like that, so it makes sense that that would come up as a, like, floating that idea.
Yeah, is it something that's not of this world?
Yeah, whereas, in the 1880s, they're like, there's the White River Monster, We're going to blow it up.
We're going to blow it up with bluegrass.
Dude, the fucking frogman. We got to find, like, you need to start finding funny details. I need to start doing deep dives on the Wikipedias and find me the funny cryptids.
All right. I'll do another one about the Loveland Frogman. We'll have to switch out the intro for that episode just to be bluegrass.
Yeah. Fucking dude, they gotta save Peepaw like that.
That's the biggest problem. Like, if you're not saving Peepaw, what the fuck are you doing?
What are you even doing here? That's not left me. The fact that it's just a smoking bluegrass band.
Smoking hot bluegrass band. Well, hot damn, Mr. Frogman.
Maybe we should start writing. Hold on. I'm thinking now about writing.
Okay, let's think.
I'm thinking now about writing. We should start writing musicals for all of these cryptids.
Yeah.
I know nothing about music composition or writing, for that matter.
I can whip out the ukulele.
Yeah. You whip out the ukulele, and I'll just start writing.
Very, very rusty at the guitar.
Yeah, we got it. We're in the Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
We'll come up with a name. We're going to start workshopping this.
The first line I can tell you right now is "Goat sucker, I barely know her," and then we'll just hit the chorus.
And then fucking close curtains. It's a 6-minute musical.
just goat sucker, I barely know her.
Chupacabra. Oh, Chupacabra is the one for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but on the real, I've been thinking about a lot of video games this week, honestly, because, like, we've been, full disclosure, Chris and I play quite a bit of games together.
We do.
And, like, recently we've been playing some pretty mellow games. Like, we've been playing Minecraft again.
Oh, yeah. I'm picking up.
And it's just, and it's just so nice to just, like, we've got a good thing going. You like to build. You're not necessarily good at it, but you like to build.
That's right.
And I like to go kill shit and go mining. So we make a good pair where you can basically give me a grocery list, and I just go off and do the shit. And I come back and you're like, I installed carpet. And I'm like, very good, honey. And then we go to bed and wake up and we do it again the next day.
Damn, you didn't say you're joking or anything about me being bad at building. Word.
Oh, I was joking about that.
No, sure you were. No, you're good. Keep going.
I was. And then we've been playing Stardew Valley again, which...
Oh, yeah. We've been getting back on that grind.
Like,
that grind.
It has no right to be as good as it is.
Especially when you're... Like, we are OP on that. We don't do anything for our farm. All we do is plant
we just buy the seeds and plant them, and then we
have sprinklers.
sell. Yeah, we got those automated sprinklers. It's just that was a game changer because
Mm-hmm.
watering all those plants was just mind numbing. So
Yeah.
now that we've got those sprinklers, we're like, chef's kiss. We've got it. We're both married, and it's full on. We're into it, and it's not good.
I've been playing I've been picking back up on Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing
And-
didn't do it for me.
Oh, dude, I remember Animal Crossing back like on the GameCube. So like it just hits a nostalgic feeling for me. But in this one you can kind of build your own town.
Right.
Like you can change the infrastructure of like the island and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I really want it to be like a sandbox, like a mode for sandbox, so I can just do that.
Yeah,
But
especially like having to buy all the stuff and be able to craft it. Yeah,
I don't think I can, which kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then I've been thinking about Apex Legends because when we do play it, it's a good time. Like it's not one that I could just binge. My father is way too into it. He plays it like it's a job. Like if he was better at it, he could go MLG. But like he's level 500, not because he's a god at it, but because he plays it too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm trash at it. I'm so bad at it.
And I'm like, I'm mid, And so when we get our fucking team together, it's
The
it's
fucking
like,
Three Stooges.
yeah, it's not good.
Curly, Larry, and Moe.
But then when it goes well, oh my god, we celebrate like we're just like we're kings.
Like we're kings, yeah. Like we're kings.
Like the first time that the three of us played arenas, which for people that don't know, arenas one team of 3 versus another team of 3, and like it's kind of like tennis, the first to like 3 wins, but you have to win by more than 1. And my dad and I went down, and we had only taken one teammate out on the other side, and so full disclosure, my dad and I had pretty low confidence that we were going to pull this one off. So we were like, Chris, just get the supplies. Just get the supplies and do what you can. And he was like, oh, okay. And he fucking gets a double kill and clutches this shit. And you'd have thought he just got accepted to Harvard. He fucking is screaming. He's redlining the microphone. And he is just losing his mind. And I mean, it's just beautiful that he was that high on life at that moment. And, I would never take that from him. But it cracked us up how intense he immediately got about a double kill.
That's right.
And it was like, it was a man who needed that win at that point, and he got it.
That's right. You're damn right I did.
All right. That's all I got. What you been thinking about anything else other than that? You just go, no.
I live, breathe, and sleep cryptids. No, actually, I've been thinking... Honestly, I've been kind of thinking about space lately.
Yeah? What about it?
Yeah, just the vastness of it. Because I sit there, I saw one of those videos on Instagram where it's like, this is the Earth compared to Mars, and this is Earth and Mars compared to Venus, then Jupiter, then Saturn, and then it keeps growing, and then the sun, and then like there's another star that they had, and then like it's just humongous, and it's just like I am so small.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck. Oh.
Yeah, and I am very small, and just gets you thinking. Like,
it does.
What else is out there? It makes me, which I might start including, in the cryptids, I might go to aliens. Like, I might touch on that base.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and if any of you
Chris's
guys have
corner is your baby.
Yeah, that's right. It's my child, and I'll nurse it from the teat. But if any of you guys have... If any of you guys have any good like cryptids that you want me to talk about, or aliens or alien interactions, you can definitely shoot us an email at simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com. I'd love to hear them.
Yeah. And speaking of, thanks for the setup here. We did get a letter in the mailbag here from CaliGirl92, and she said, "Hey Colin, love the podcast. Wish you would talk more about video games. What are some of your favorite video games you've played, as well as ones you're looking forward to coming up? Keep up the good work. Love you."
That's crazy. I just wasn't mentioned.
I mean, she didn't use your name.
What are you talking about? All these of them great.
Yeah, I mean, she said she loves the podcast. You're on the podcast.
I don't like how it's strictly just you. Can a brother get some love out here?
She said love the podcast, and then she said love you.
You.
Could have been you guys.
Yeah, just... Come on now.
You'd be all right.
Yeah.
People love you. I love you.
That's right. That's all that matters.
That's right. Yeah. Ebony and ivory. No. So for on the real, CaliGirl92, yeah. So she did. She asked us about video games. So we could probably talk about some video games.
we
We just
started.
talked about Minecraft, Stardew, and Apex. Some of my favorite video games. I'm a sucker for like mid 2000s FPS games. So like Half-Life 2 was like, I've played that shit like 4 times. I'm not even joking. It does such a good job of doing environmental where, you know, there's no cutscenes or anything like that. And it just does a good job of, you can tell what happened in a room just by looking at the room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then obviously there's the meme of like Half-Life 2 ended up getting like, it was supposed to be a 3-part like episodic sequel basically. So there was Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and Half-Life 2 Episode 2. And then Half-Life 2 Episode 2 ends on humongous cliffhanger. And then they've never done anything else with Half-Life. Though that's not true. They did a VR, but it takes place before Half-Life 2. So it doesn't even finish that cliffhanger. And so I really would like to see that, but I don't think I ever will, because that was 2007. So, you know, it's been a moment. And then BioShock is another one that I've got a soft spot for, again, because of that environmental storytelling and all that. It's a really good game. What about you, Bub?
The first one that comes to my mind, I think, is probably my all-time favorite, and it's something that we actually kind of met through, is The Last of Us.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the games that we bonded through, and, you know, it's a beautiful game because it keeps it somewhat realistic in the aspect of it's a zombie apocalypse, but it's actually from a disease called cordyceps, which happens within insects.
Yeah, it's a real fungus.
Yeah, and it's a real thing, and it basically just made the bridge jump from insects to humans, which, I mean, you kind of have to think is kind of what happened with COVID.
It is how a lot of diseases happen, is they make a jump from an animal to
a human, and it's just something that, you know, that happens. And so but the whole story is about finding love and revenge in the first one, and then the second one the first one is about acceptance.
Yeah.
And then the second one's about revenge and like where it'll get you.
Yeah. And they both, like, 2 got a lot of flack from a very specific crowd, I feel.
Yes.
And I'm not in that camp. I loved it.
No, it was amazing.
And so, like, I think that kind of ties in where you said, what, you know, games that you're looking forward to coming up. They talked about back before Last of Us Part 2 came out that there wasn't going to be a multiplayer component in the game, but that they didn't want to give up as a standalone thing. Yeah.
Right, yeah, which I'd be very excited for.
Yeah, I could see them taking that, because we play the hell out of that multiplayer.
Factions.
You know, when we, yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, The Last of Us, that's a good one. That's one of mine as well.
You know, yeah, so really The Last of Us, you know, that first and second one are really good. I still have to... Is there the DLC for the first one?
Yeah, Left Behind.
Left Behind. I still have to play that one. I remember I played a little bit of it, and then I think I stopped, so I definitely have to back up on that. Yeah. I think... Let me see. I'm just turning around looking at my games.
I've got another one that actually ties in. Somebody wrote in to me who I used to be... like, we're childhood friends, and, you know, we moved away and whatever. It's not like, you know, we did bad terms or anything. But he hit me up and he said that he'd been listening to the podcast and all that. And he brought up a game that, like, flashed a bunch of nostalgia. It's this super, like, I've never seen or heard anybody else ever. But it's this PS2 game called Raw Danger. And it's a Japanese game that apparently is a whole series over in Japan. But as far as I can tell, Raw Danger is the only one that we got here, and it's apparently the second game in the series. But it's like this weird city that's like, it's kind of like a super high-tech New Orleans where it's below sea level. And the city is having like a natural disaster, and like the city's flooding, and it's getting cold, and it's winter and all that. And you play as like several different characters in the city that are all trying to get out. And it's a survival game based around like just fighting the elements. And so there's no enemies or anything like that. Just... Okay, so these characters have a car because it's a taxi driver, and you can do stuff like it had like a weird crafting system where you could build, and keep in mind it's a PS2 game, where you could get cardboard and duct tape and like put duct tape up over the windows to keep the cold out, or, you know, put cardboard up over the windows to keep the cold out and shit like that.
Sounds very advanced for a PS2 game.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, and like I said, it's just I played the hell out of it with the guy that wrote in. and asked me about it, and I loved it, and I've never seen her again. And I actually did look it up after he messaged me about it. And apparently there was like a fourth game that was supposed to come out, and it was going to be released in the U.S., and I don't think it ever did. And I'm like, damn. Like, I want to play it. I want to see a new, like, modern version of that game. I had a good time.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of some that I really like today, like in today's day and age, and then some that I really enjoyed as a kid. But two games that kind of pop up in my head right now is Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I know they came out with a huge DLC, and I really want to get that. And I've been playing the multiplayer, which is such a phenomenal turn. I mean, I can go on for hours about that game. It is very good.
And to go on with that, God of War.
Yes, yeah. I remember playing. I believe it was the second one on the PS2.
The second God of War game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can't remember, but I remember playing one of them, and I remember thinking like I wasn't too much into games as a kid.
Yeah.
Besides, like I had a DS, I had a Wii, the GameCube.
Yeah, you were a Nintendo kid.
Yeah, I was a Nintendo kid, and then, but we had a PlayStation 2, and the original Xbox.
Yeah.
And so I got to play like Battlefront 2, which was a lot of fun. And then like I remember on the Xbox I had Spyro, or no, that was the GameCube. Spyro.
Are you sure? Spyro would have been on the PlayStation, I think, because that was a Sony game.
Was it? Yeah. Then it would have been the PS2. But yeah, that shit was gas. And then another game that for whatever reason gets me so hyped whenever we play is Labyrinthine.
Yes, yeah, that is really good.
Yeah, it's just this maze game, and whenever there's a big update, we always get so nervous because we're like, "Fuck, we got to play this," and
the levels are long.
Yeah, and it's scary too. It does a good job of keeping you on the edge.
Yeah, and we get to giggling because you're literally it's the kind of game where you're going through a maze and you're typically trying to solve a puzzle. And there are enemies in the maze with you, right?
You're trying to hide from them.
And you're trying to hide from them and complete the puzzle and get out, right? And it cracks us up because we'll be just hucking and chucking and talking and walking, and then you'll hear one of the monsters. And we both break into a sprint and just stay silent.
Yeah, we do, as if there's like a proximity chat.
Yeah, we're just running, and then eventually I'll be like, "Are you back there?" And like, "Oh, I'm on you."
Yeah, I'm right behind you.
I am on you. I remember the first time that we played it, there's a map that's a corn maze or a hedge maze, and there's this big wide open space in like the center of the maze. And we stepped out into it and we were like looking around for clues or whatever. And I just vaguely through the fog saw the monster step into the courtyard and start coming towards us. And I screamed bloody murder. I think I just yelled run.
Yeah.
And I was gone. And I didn't even look to see if you were with me. I'm just running. And then I was like, did it get you? And you're like, no, I'm with you. And I was like, oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, you turned around and I was literally in your avatar. I was like, oh, I'm right here, dude. I'm on you like stink on shit. Here.
Yeah. But I mean, blood curdling. Run! And it just took off. And I was like,
scary
you're welcome.
Games like,
I probably saved you.
Yeah, you did, definitely. But little stupid scary games like that, I don't know, but they always get me going. I think as of right now, that all I can think of the big major ones. Yeah, that might be it.
And just like any question like that, I mean, there's probably a ton of answers, and we'll think of tons of them when we get off here. But yeah, I think those are good smattering. So then I think it's time to wrap it up. We're sitting about 90 minutes. That's a good. I don't want to get too breathy on it. So again, we're going to thank you guys so much for your attention and support. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give us a great review, 5 stars on Apple. There, big help, and tell your friends about it. Because word of mouth is also a huge help, especially at the beginning like this. So just, if you enjoyed it, tell people about it, subscribe, and all that, smash that like button,
Smash that like button.
And then, Chris, if people wanted to get in touch with us to give us feedback, ask questions like Cali Girl 92 did today, how would they do that?
Yeah, so if you guys ever want to get in touch with us or just see when we're posting, what we're posting, you can follow us on Instagram at Simply Whelmed Podcast. We have a Facebook now as well, which is the Simply Whelmed Podcast. Our Twitter is whelmed_simply. And then, as always, more than welcome to shoot us an email at simplywhelmedthemailbag@gmail.com.
That's right. And next week we're going to talk about the multiverse. It'll probably be our first like big episode other than Batman.
Multiverse of Madness. Which I'm very excited for.
I am too. And we're really not sure. Like, it's a bad week for us as podcasters because the finale of Moon Knight is Wednesday. And then Thursday, like the day that this episode comes out, the finale of Moon Knight will be out. And then
I think we'll
Thursday
just have to bite the bullet.
Do we just do
I think we'll just have to do a long... Yeah, prepare for a long episode next week.
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes sense to me.
Yeah, because otherwise I think, obviously, the one that you would wait on would be Moon Knight. But I don't want to wait on it. I want to talk about it.
Right, yeah. And, I don't want to miss the hype of the ending for anything.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have an opinion on that, tweet at us, send us an email. I think Facebook would be a pretty good one, just from me running it. I think it should give us a good opportunity to interact with you guys. So check that one out for me. And then, again, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Hey, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.